Right, look, listen. One more hit to the balls like that and you're in serious trouble, okay? All right, yeah, fine. Be careful in your next game. God, the pain. Right, good news, you won. The bad news is, you finished. Oh, God. God's sake, man. How's that even happen? Yo guys, it is your boy Niran here, and you are watching FTW. It's of course the series where it brings you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. But what's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, Her Majesty the Queen passed away at the age of 96, and it's had an effect up and down the country. We're into an official time of mourning, and we've got a bank holiday coming up for the funeral. Flights were cancelled from Heathrow to avoid noise. No one's hearing flight BA1373 above me. Excuse me, I'm going to need you to cut off the engine. But now... it's really not the thing that royals should be concerned about going down. King Charles is now firmly ready for his opportunity, but he saw all of the Premier League and Football League's games on the weekend postponed across the country, and realistically, it's what she would have wanted.
Well, that's awful. Obviously. But not.
What?
Well, it's not relevant, is it?
You disgust me.
We even had an extra Liverpool game cancelled as well. Here's the Queen realising that she left Mo Salah in our fantasy football squad. It's obviously extremely sad, and it's calm for us to honour her. But I hope the fans who paid for hotels and transport got refunded after the last-minute cancellation. But with the games postponed, Premier League stars were keeping themselves occupied. Jack Grealish was out at 10:27 AM getting the Jaegers in. Patrick Bamford was out in the club as well.
Oh mate, that is absolutely dirty. Turn that up. What is that, garage?
Kyle Walker was simply losing count of the amount of women that he's had over since last week.
Probably around 95, 96, was it? 94, 95, 96.
Royalists weren't too happy with Gabriel Jesus when it turned out he didn't have the revival skills he had for Easter. And William Saliba's back on TikTok again.
William?
But in the football that did take place now, and at Bayern Munich, they beat Barcelona 2-0 in the Champions League in their second group stage encounter. Barca fans saw this game coming and were terrified. Oh, God. Wow, flipping. Oh, man, at least it's not 8-2 Are you mad? In a build-up to this one, and Sadio Mane teased Thomas Muller, asking him not to pass to Robert Lewandowski out of habit. And I'm glad that he did, because Thomas could have been working on muscle memory there. And it's Muller to Lewandowski. It's 6-0 Barca. Thomas, please, look, listen. You're not his teammate anymore. Could you pass to your actual mates? Yeah, no problem, boss. And it's 7. Speaking of Lewandowski, and this game saw his return to Bayern Munich. Here's him trying to ignore his Bayern teammates in the background and speak Spanish to his new ones.
Buenos noches, días. 7, 8. ¿Dónde Esteban?
He'll be excited seeing Bayern go 5-0 up, only to realise he doesn't play for them anymore.
Oh, let's go! That's class!
Man, who am I kidding? He's there celebrating with them as well. Marc-Andre ter Stegen's happy as he sees Lewandowski running away from him instead of towards him now. But at least Bayern will be kind enough to let him have a goal when they're 9-0 up.
He might have another chance though. Gascoigne.
I can't even lie, he still wouldn't have scored. This man's a Bayern secret agent. A 3.7 rating, you know. He couldn't stop his side going 2-0 down, though Barcelona fans had their own way to get over it. After the fake Jules Koundé Instagram last week, Chelsea fans are back with their own Thiago Silva one. Joshua Kimmich turned up to this one with a black eye that he received from teammate Marcel Sabitzer. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich fans came to the game with a banner condemning England's postponements of the weekend's games due to the Queen's death. Barca fans were confused as to whether this was aimed at them in the away end.
Why did they get picked up?
And in fairness, it is poor on the fans if we're real. To be fair to Barca, they were actually very good in this one and should have been 2-0 up early on. Money laundering is actually working for them. Elsewhere, at Tottenham, they lost 2-0 in a shock defeat to Sporting Lisbon.
It's happened again. It's happened again.
The Portuguese side have never even beaten English opposition in the Champions League in 7 attempts, so this is a howler from Spurs.
It's the history of the Tottenham.
Not only that, but they managed to concede both goals in added time, one in the 90th minute and one in the 93rd.
Tottenham.
Did their controller disconnect or something? They're 2-0 down and Richarlison's out by the corner flag doing kick-ups in the 96th minute. He was gutted at full time. Here he is being consoled by Richarlidad. This realistically is the Tottenham of old. Antonio Conte was stressed watching additional time. He's on the first flight out of there in the morning. Emerson Royal was absolutely rinsed. Today of all days, think about the Queen, man. And it's a fitting name, to be fair. He needs about as much defensive protection as Prince Andrew. It's actually nuts to think that Eric Dyer used to play for Sporting. He had to confront Emerson in training. Now he's fighting for his life in his old Portuguese group chat.
Just help me to understand why I would put such faith
in a wretch like you.
Harry Kane is one golf course away from wanting to leave again. Meanwhile, Marcus Edwards, who of course used to play for Tottenham as a youngster, came back to haunt his former side. The day he left North London for the final time is all making sense now.
They've made the biggest mistakes of their lives.
Thierry Henry was not particularly sympathetic either.
Now that goal, I don't care, it's not because it was against Spurs, but look at what he does. Step over. Meg, see you later. Hugo, Meg, see you later. 2-0, bye.
But shout out to Sporting, man. Honestly, they deserve this victory. And it's surprising they haven't beaten English opposition before. At Manchester City now, and there were dramatic scenes there as they came back from 1-0 down to beat Borussia Dortmund with the help of old BVB striker Erling Haaland. Jude Bellingham put Dortmund ahead before a screamer from John Stones. So looking back, and the keeper is looking a little familiar, he simply was not happy with the pace at which John smashed the ball in.
How are you coming fast? Why you fucking coming fast?
Before the game, our new Dortmund centre-back Nico Schlotterbeck had said that Erling Haaland was the least of his side's concerns. But just a few minutes after he came on, and Erling Haaland showed him why he was wrong.
What a ball that is by Cancelo! Sometimes you cannot believe your eyes!
Do you understand the technique here? Nunes tried this and it went horribly wrong. We've got to change this guy to Erling Haaland. The Cancelo ball was crazy, but this guy is genuinely a freak. Nice of Phil Foden to shade the amount of goals the Norwegian's going to score this season into his head. But even at full time and Pep Guardiola wasn't happy with the referee, he went a little bit too far but got away with it in the end. You're bald. Yep, you know what, you're right. It was another disappointing European day for Chelsea though, in Graham Potter's first game in charge, as he was only able to lead his side to a 1-1 draw against Red Bull Salzburg. Thomas Tuchel was at home, smiling, knowing that his former side had drawn to an energy drink. Meanwhile, Calvin Harris was at home, thinking his doppelganger was in charge. In the 21st minute of this one, and Chelsea fans actually started applauding to commemorate the 2021 victory that Thomas Tuchel had brought them. If I was Graham Potter, I wouldn't have that personally. These lot aren't over their ex. Good of Red Bull Salzburg to get a result over Potter where Voldemort couldn't. Meanwhile, Hakim Ziyech was frustrating Blues fans again. Public opinion of him isn't great right now.
I've been watching him for a very long time and I still don't know what he is good at.
At PSG, and they came back from behind to beat Maccabi Haifa. Who? Yeah, no, this one was nuts. The underdogs gave a good account of themselves. Ashraf Hakimi at right back was far too distracted with other shenanigans. But PSG did end up taking all 3 points. Neymar celebrated in his traditional fashion and got a yellow card for antagonising his opponents.
I'm rapidly falling out of love with football. I just wonder what's the point anymore, you know.
Meanwhile, shout out to Copenhagen, who gave out free beers to Sevilla fans who made the journey over to Denmark. If you see me booking a flight there, then don't ask questions. Can I get the free beer as well? At Liverpool, and for God's sake, lads, it's gonna be a long day. Wait, hang on a sec. Yo, we won! Yo, this was all out of habit. Oh, how unanticipated. Liverpool returned to winning ways, taking a first set of Champions League points with a late 2-1 win over Ajax. Jurgen Klopp was on edge checking his emails after actually winning a game of football.
Ooh, I tell you what, I read that bad. I thought I was gone. Yes, I read that and I thought that's a long email, that's not a good thing.
It was a slow start to this one, but we saw a better performance in the end. It's really mad what Thiago Alcantara can do when he's actually got 2 legs. It was good seeing a centre-back partnership of Van Dijk and Matip again. Matip even got the winner in the 89th minute after a Mohamed Kudus banger. Darwin Núñez was in shock, realising you can actually headbutt the ball instead of the opposition. Ajax were terrified seeing Matip jump in at the back post. Meanwhile, it's going to be a sad state of affairs for Joe Gomez, knowing he's not going to get any game time now. Jurgen was not impressed seeing him attempting to warm up and wanting to come on.
Tell me about the sales. Come on, I'm getting... What are you doing? Sorry.
Greece's Minister of Defence was seen on Facebook trying to give Jurgen Klopp tactical advice. Maybe he'll use it, and hopefully we use this performance to move forward. Atletico Madrid faced off against Bundesliga side Bayer Leverkusen and lost 2-0. It's not even the right Bayern, lads. Leverkusen's Champions League graphics look like one that they'd use for their under-15s team. The result of this one even had Diego Simeone physically spasming. He actually just looks like the Joker, doesn't he? No, I actually don't. And it came down to needing Antoine Griezmann again, so of course they brought him on in the 61st minute once more. When is it gonna end? Now back in the Premier League now, and even though games were postponed over the weekend, there's still news going on, as Chelsea's new chairman, Todd Boehly, expressed interest in USifying the Premier League. We all remember how that went last time. He suggested that there should be some kind of all-star North versus South playoff game for the best players in the Prem. You must be mad if you think I'm gonna let Mo Salah get injured in the Wilkinson North-South Culture Clash Reebok Invitational. And at the Midland Midlands left out of this as well? Is Jamie Vardy gonna have to play one half for both teams? And what are Forest squad gonna do with themselves whilst this is going on? To be fair, they could probably fill up the stands, let's be real. This is a man who went to Thomas Tuchel before his sacking with the idea of a 4-4-3 formation. How are we trusting him with any football-related situations? Here's Todd trying to sneak on his physio as an extra footballer. What are you gonna do? Sign someone mid-game? He even claimed that Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah are products of the Chelsea Youth Academy. A South London Mo would be a sight to behold. At Wolves, and Diego Costa is back in the Premier League officially after signing for the West Midlands side. Wolves fans couldn't quite believe it themselves.
Diego Costa?
Diego Costa, yeah.
Yeah, he come in, has he? I wasn't too well, seen somewhere on Facebook, but I just thought it was fake news, like, you know what I mean?
He's going to be a handful for Premier League defenders once more, and he's already warming up for scraps in training. In Manchester, and Erling Haaland's been spotted out on the streets.
You came to the wrong side of Manchester. They love me here. Yeah, United.
No security here for the big man. He's his security, let's be real. Look at this man. Do you think he needs antivirus? Elsewhere, and other people are meeting Manchester City stars in the form of Julian Alvarez, and not João Cancelo as it says in the Insta caption. Meanwhile, at Brighton, and Adam Lallana is going to become caretaker manager with Graham Potter going to Chelsea, and he'll become the first boss to ever be out injured for a match. Meanwhile, over in the Europa League, don't think I forgot about you, United. Red Devils lost in the groups to La Liga's Real Sociedad. This one came down to a pretty controversial pen that will have Eric Ten Hag waiting out in the car park for the ref, but United were also a bit poor. Harry Maguire's back in, and they immediately lost. Casemiro's highlights are not that great.
What's all fuss about?
Him and Cristiano Ronaldo had time to reflect at the end of a shocking display.
We did all right for a couple of goofballs.
And at this point, Ron's best position is off the pitch entirely. And in the end, David De Gea was left looking down the line for any intelligent life forms. Over in Italy, and there was carnage at Juventus versus Salernitana, where a 93rd minute penalty was saved from Leonardo Bonucci, then put in for 2-2. Then 2 minutes later, Arkadiusz Milik thought he'd scored the winner from a header, took off his shirt, only for it to be disallowed and for him to get his second yellow card. Then a fight broke out with 3 more red cards being dished out.
Quite not in at the library. Not.
The ref was going crazy at the end of this one, I can't lie. But just to make it even worse, it wasn't even offside. The officials off the pitch only looked at players inside the box, but it turns out there was a Don outside of it by the touchline playing everybody on. VAR had no idea what was kicking off. Meanwhile, the referee could be seen entering Salernitana's dressing room at full time. One father of a bride in Italy had his mind on Milan, so was very pleased to see that they were beating Sampdoria 1-0. Lazio posted their own tribute to the Queen on Twitter, then changed the tone a little bit. Meanwhile, down in the third tier, and we've got a spectacular own goal coming from Giovanni Corradini of Pro Vercelli. In France now, and Alexander Lacazette's voice was a little bit lost after his match for Lyon.
On les savait dangereux sur coup de pied arrêté, on sait que c'est notre point faible. En plus, on manque de taille à ce niveau-là.
Has this guy been vaping for 18 hours straight?
Is he on fucking space? Oh, what?
His vocal cords have got less integrity than his scoring record. Former Nottingham Forest goalkeeper Bryce Samba, now of Lens, had an emphatic response for an opponent that tried to lob him from the halfway line. OGC's forward Andy Delors scored a match-winning goal against Ajaccio, who he actually supports. So after the game, he went out and had a beer with Ajaccio's fans. That's what football's all about. Meanwhile, at OGC's, and they've just signed Ross Barkley, but their new boss admitted he doesn't know his best position. Ross is not going to be best pleased when he's starting a left wing back for them.
Many people need like some good slap right now in this club.
Meanwhile, there was a quiet day at the office down at Ligue 2, where Gingon won 6-3 in their most recent league fixture. In Spain now, and there were dramatic scenes at Barcelona versus Cadiz, where Jeremias Ledesma ran across the pitch with a first aid kit and threw it into the stands to attempt to help a fan who'd collapsed. Fans lauded him as a saviour, and it's incredibly heroic work from him. Thankfully, the fan is now recovering. But it did leave us with a very interesting amount of additional time come the end of the game. At Real Betis now, and we've got an unfortunate freeze frame here. Meanwhile, there's similarly violent scenes over at Rayo Vallecano, where their president, Raul Martin Preza, claims that he was headbutted by the agent of Espanyol striker Raúl de Tomas whilst negotiating a transfer with him. He's quoted as saying it was a criminal action and a very cowardly one, and said that he was willing to fight the agent after being taken to hospital. Now, I want to see this as an option in FIFA. In Germany, and it's just as disrespectful, from Henok Techlab, a forward at Prusen Munster. And after that classy finish, it's time to move on to our goals of the week. And we start off in Argentina at Newell's Old Boys with the beautifully named Djorkaeff Riasco.
What a shot!
After that, and over in the J-League, we've got a corner getting cleared and dropping perfectly to Sazero Osaka's Takuma Suzuki. And our final goal of the week comes from India, where Nana Ajay Benson scored a volley of her own, but the flick up beforehand is simply perfect. Also, shout out to Dominic Hyam for scoring a scorpion kick for Blackburn, but copyright, so I can't show it. At Malmo and in the Europa League, we've got some interesting physio work going on. How many times do I have to tell you not to injure that? At Fenerbahce, and they reported on a yellow card here for King. He's only just got the job, for God's sake. Meanwhile, in Mexico, and after an awful free kick from Nahuel, Chivas' goalkeeper over there had a perfect reaction. It's a Hauser award for the shot stopper. Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty. And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Now in the Netherlands, and we've got this Utrecht striker trying to distract Vitesse's goalkeeper. In Argentina, we've got the biggest game of them all, as Boca Juniors faced off against River Plate. There were scenes outside as Spider-Man was in attendance. I knew the Avengers had a hidden subplot. Meanwhile, one Boca Juniors fan was using a 1,000 Argentinian currency note, I don't know what it is, to light a cigarette. This is a flex, you know. Closer to home, and in Weymouth's game against Bath, Ryan Sanford managed to save a penalty for Weymouth, then make 3 more saves back to back. Dallas faced off against Gareth Bale's LAFC and won 2-1. They celebrated the victory by counting the amount of golf courses near them because of Gareth Bale. Yeah, just give him a Housery award, boys. Brazilian manager Lisca is somewhat of a journeyman of a boss, it's fair to say. He managed 4 games for Sport before leaving them and taking over at Santos, where he only managed 8 games for them before getting sacked. He's just taken on a new job at Avaí and will be hoping that he manages more than 12 games here. Back in Mexico and at Atlas, we've got this guy getting sent off for this gesture, even though it wasn't actually at the referee. We've got a Mexican couple that literally support every single club in the division. I hope there's more loyalty in the relationship, because there's none here. Recently, I brought you the story of Newell's Old Boys, Lionel Messi's childhood club, signing a new footballer, a youngster called Joaquin Messi. Well, if you're gonna have that name, you gotta score some good goals, and thankfully, he provided. Over in the MLS and at New York City, Thiago Martins is not gonna want to see this own goal back anytime soon, and it doesn't get much better for Qatar's under-20s, where we've got a terrible back pass and a shambolic attempt at control from Qatar's goalkeeper. At Grêmio in Brazil, and everybody managed to confuse themselves when there was 2 balls on the pitch, and the referee just decided to let play go on. If there's 2 balls, I can do twice as much refereeing. At Internacional though now. In the Croatian lower leagues, and it's not enough to bring a pyro to the game, not even a firearm, literally a grenade launcher is getting shot here by some of their fans. Meanwhile, the quality of the Polish league this week has not been anywhere near as explosive. Now though, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for, because over in Romania, and I've got 2 brilliant clips for you this week, and they're both sensational own goals. First of all, we go to Universitatea Craiova with a pretty stock standard miscommunication between a defender and goalkeeper. But then it gets a whole lot better over at Petrolul, where we have another own goal, this time from Takayuki Sato, and this is a delightful, charming little chip finish that screams of match fixing. Over at Hartford Athletic, and they were the beneficiaries of a shocking own goal from a corner from their opposition's goalkeeper. The quality of goal doesn't get a whole lot better over in Malaysia now. We head back over to Indonesia once again, because they don't have just your average football pitch over there. No, they've got literal trees coming out of the ground. There's a different kind of bark going on over in Bosnia and Herzegovina, where a dog has managed to enter the field of play here. In Paraguay, and we've got Hezbollah trying to break up a fight. You can't be getting involved in these things when you need a stepladder to see eye to eye. I don't know where this picture is from, but it includes perhaps the greatest name of all time to ever feature on on the back of a football kit. In Ireland and Cork City released this graphic only for it to feature streamer Speed in the background. Didn't know he was a fan of the Irish game. What the fuck league is this? And over in Australia, we've got record-breaking scenes for the first of 2 times in this episode, where Sydney United became the first non-A-League side to reach the final of the Australian Cup, and they did so with a beautifully worked goal. Now that it's time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. Now, what can we describe Sunday League football as? Gritty, raw, and most importantly, very real. And that's why when you're involved in a game and your Be Real goes off on your phone, a type of social media that makes you post exactly what you're doing in that precise moment of the day, a Sunday League footballer is going to be as real as it gets, even if your leg's been broken and you're in the back of an ambulance. On to the weird stuff though now. Over in Spain, and Real Madrid and Villarreal's women's tie had to be delayed because the officials didn't turn up on time, and they're still doing a better job than most English refs. Back down under, and in the Australian Cup again, 14-year-old goalkeeper Irma Abili made history coming on for Oakley Cannons against MacArthur FC in injury time, literally aged 14. What is going on here? They subbed him on because they were 5-2 down and they thought they might as well. And he came on for a goalkeeper who's over twice his age. And if you thought that was mad, over in Northern Ireland, Glenavon's Christopher Atherton made history by becoming the UK's youngest ever senior footballer, as he came on at the age of 13. And he got an assist with his first touch. If I concede to a goal created by a literal year 9 school child, I'm dissolving the whole football club. You must be crazy. What a set of circumstances, and what days for these 2 young kids. And you never know, we might see a lot more of them when they're older. But finally, over at Morecambe, they took the executive decision to cancel their official coach travel to their game against Forest Green Rovers because only 4 supporters bought tickets for the match. Having to cancel your own transport because you don't have enough fans is probably a first for this series. But that is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @officialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.